Hi, Assalamualaikum. Today our group will present about the application of electrostatic. There are a lot of application of electrostatic. We choose one of the application that related to electrostatic, which is inkjet printer. Before I move further, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Siti Nur Yasmin binti Kamarazama with matrix number AE1800077. Most of the people know that this printer, inkjet printer, use electrostatic charge. But how the charge used in this printer? This printer use electrostatic charge to direct the tiny ink droplet to the correct place on the page. So the color is passed through the very small hole. This hole called as a nozzle, which separate the ink into the very tiny droplet. So this tiny droplet give the electrostatic charge. In this video, we will show how the direction during the charge in droplet move can be controlled by the electrically charged metal plate.
Assalamualaikum, and my name is Muhammad Asfabi Abdullah. My metric number is TE180137. So we continue to problem segment. A few hundred years back to the 15th century, there had been some small scale printing with wooden blocks, but printing only really began when a German printer named Johannes Gutenberg invented some called the movable type, metal type around 1415. So you will be familiar with the metal type, which is if you ever saw before this typewriter. So a typewriter has such an on-screen keyboard, but it is printed directly on paper instead of later appearing on at a one time on the screen. So basically, early computer printers were heavily lent out from the writer technology, but latest method for faster and efficient printing. So the computer printing began to use three other technology rather than use rolls over metal type levers to hammer letters against a page. So uh, the new generation of printer inkjet printer, which using electrostatic concept, will be provide a new invention to make a printing look more detailed in picture and more efficient in future use.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Shakila binti Mazmin and my metric number is CE180047. So today I will present about the objective of this project.
The first objective of this project is to understand how electrostatics work in the inkjet printer. So by doing this project, we can understand how electrostatic happens in the inkjet printer. The second objective is to understand function of each component in the inkjet printer so that we know how each component in the inkjet printer works, from the input to the process and then to the output. The last objective is to make printing look more clear in the picture. So that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hasif bin Muhammad Anwar, which my metric number is DE180113 from Faculty of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Now, I would like to present about the project framework in the application of electrostatic into the inkjet printer. So, let's move to the first slide. The first slide shows the two main parts in the project framework, that are the block diagram of the system and the design prototype of the application. The first diagram showed the block diagram of the inkjet printer, where we can see the printer, the controller, and the logic are the main part in the inkjet printer system, where we can see the paper out sensor, the cartridge home sensor, the paper feed motor drive, the cartridge motor drive, the nozzle operation logic, the control room, the interface logic, printer buffer, and the front panel are connected to the printer, to the controller and the logic, where it plays the main important role in the system of inkjet printer. The next slide shows the inkjet nozzles in a piezoelectric inkjet printer. So how it works? First, the ink tank, that is the black one, supplies the ink dispenser, that is the green, and through a narrow tube by capillary action. Next, a droplet of ink from the tank sits waiting at the very end of the tube, and when the printer circuit wants to fire an ink droplet, it energizes two electrical contacts, that is the red, attached to the piezoelectric crystal, and then the energized piezoelectrical crystal, the dark red one, flexes outward toward the right in this picture. Then it squashes against a membrane, that's the dark blue, and pushing it toward the right as well. Last but not least, the membrane pushes against a hole in the ink dispenser, that is the green one, to increase the pressure there, and the pressure forces the waiting ink droplet from the tube toward the paper. So all of the sequence are shown into the block diagram of the ink nozzles in a piezoelectric inkjet printer. This is the summarization of the how the inkjet printer works. The last one, we will see the design prototype of the inkjet printer, where it have various parts that have their own function, and there are two parts also in this prototype, where the first one that is the print head assembly, and the second one is the paper feed assembly, where the print head assembly consists of print head, ink cartridge, print head stepper motor, belt, and stabilizer bar, where paper feed assembly consists of paper feeder, the rollers, paper feed stepper motor, control circuitry. So what is the function of the part in the inkjet printer? Where the belt used to attach the print head assembly to stepper motor. Then the paper feeder tray to load paper into typically snaps open at an angle on the back the printer to allow paper placed into it. And the rollers, it is function to pull papers in from the feeder and advance paper when print head assembly is ready for another pass. The stabilizer bar is used to ensure that movement is precise and controlled. The print head stepper motor moves the print heat assembly back and forth across the paper. The ink cartridge is where the ink is stored and also supplied. Control circuitry. Small but sophisticated amount of circuitry is built into the printer to control all of the mechanical aspects of operation, as well as decode the information sent the printer from computer. And that is for the design prototype of inkjet printer. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
I am Ashra Longnathan. My matrix number is CE180132. Today I am going to talk about the expected result of our proposal. The inkjet printer are known to print computer generated text as well as graphics. Inkjet printers can produce color images by using black jet and also 3 other jets, which are primary colors, cyan, magenta and yellow, to produce more quality images. An inkjet printer's ink is projected from the ink nozzle and passed through the charging electrodes, which moves through deflection plates and finally imprints on the paper. The nozzle of an inkjet printer produces small ink droplets which are sprayed with electrostatic charge. Few types of computer-driven devices are then used to direct the droplets to the correct position on the page to be printed. An ink tank supplies the ink dispenser through a narrow tube by capillary action. An ink droplet from the tank sits awaiting at the very end of the tube. 2 electrical contacts attached to the piezoelectric crystal will be energized when the printer wants to fire an ink droplet. Right after that, the energized piezoelectric crystal flexes outward and squashes against a membrane, pushing that towards the right. The membrane pushes against a hole in the ink dispenser while increasing the pressure over there. The increased pressure then forces the waiting droplet from the tube towards the paper to be printed.
As a conclusion, there are various models which will suit the very specific needs for user. We know that most of the user will argue about the price. They will test the specification. They also want to sample print out at the shop. Why? Because they want to find out which printer that value for money. This printer, inkjet printer, are very good for long-lasting photos. As for today, the inkjet printers have the power to supply the precise and the sharp image quality, and the most important thing is great for printing document and spreadsheets. This printer can print by spraying a small drops of ink onto the page during the certain pattern. Besides, it is also provide the text document with colorful image or print sharp photos. So basically, this printer is very suitable if you want to find a printer with affordable price and can print the high quality image or documents.